Hello and welcome to this week's Windows Business Weekly. Today I'm going to look at whether you need a third-party antivirus solution in Windows and the new Start menu experience that Microsoft accidentally leaked a couple of weeks ago. So stay tuned. So you may have noticed that I've been away for a couple of weeks. That's because I'm in the middle of house moving hell, and probably as you can see behind me, I'm still in that hell, unfortunately. So I'm surrounded by boxes and all sorts of bits and pieces. But I hope to get back to the regular schedule maybe within the next week or two. So I'm going to keep it very short this week. It's just going to be 5 or 6 minutes. But I just wanted to keep you in the loop and let you know that I'm still here. So let's talk a little bit about the new Start menu experience. Now, Microsoft accidentally released an internal preview view of the next version of Windows 10, which is 20H1, to an insider ring about a couple of weeks ago. Now, this build was intended for internal testing only at this stage, but it revealed a new default Start menu where essentially you just get a set of icons and the live tiles are missing from that experience. Now, this is the kind of Start menu that we're expecting to see in Microsoft's forthcoming Windows Light OS. Now, we're not quite sure exactly when that's going to premiere. It could be later this year or even into next year. But this new Start menu experience, we don't know, is it going to come to the main version of Windows 10 or not? Microsoft hasn't said anything about it at the moment. I think it's likely that it will do. So what does that mean for Windows Live tiles? Well, in the build that was leaked, you could still switch back to the classic Windows 10 Start menu if you like. And of course, there are people that do appreciate live tiles. And I even use live tiles on my system, but I do think that the whole experience, unfortunately, is a little bit of a mess for several reasons. The first is that developers haven't really adopted live tiles, partly because they at the moment, they are only available for UWP apps. And Microsoft is gradually moving those UWP features over so that they will be available to legacy Win32 apps. So all of those features like toast notifications in the Action Center and live tiles, they're all gradually becoming available for Windows 32 apps. Those what Microsoft had considered legacy apps. But now Microsoft are going back to Win32 apps and actually adding those features back in. But it doesn't necessarily mean that developers are going to suddenly adopt the whole live tile experience for their applications, because it requires extra effort and, well, of course, it's also only available on the Windows 10 platform. It's also something that users have to kind of configure. They have to think about their Start menu layout. They have to choose a tile size. I mean, they don't have to do those things, but if they really want to make use of live tiles, then they probably need to organize their Start menu in some way like that. Now, the other thing is with live tiles is that while some applications do implement them, not all of them implement them very well. So some of them have a bit of a half-hearted experience. Sometimes you see the live tile flip over and you can't really understand what the application is anymore. So you're kind of looking for the tile because you want to launch that application, but where is your application gone? Maybe if it's the Microsoft Store, for instance, you're seeing an advert for a game rather than the store icon. So I think I think it was a good idea in principle. I don't think that it was developed enough to make it truly useful. I think it's a little bit too complicated for most users. So I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft abandons live tiles and just focuses on the new experience for the Start menu with just icons across all Windows 10 versions. But that doesn't necessarily mean, of course, that live tiles are suddenly going to disappear. They will be there as an option. You can switch back to them, and I think Microsoft is likely to support them for a long time, just because that's what Microsoft tends to do. But it won't add anything to that live tile experience. So I'll try to add a screenshot somewhere in the video But again, going back to the start menu, I don't think that live tiles are going to disappear right now. If you do use them, I don't think that applies to many people. I'm not sure when we'll see this new default start menu experience. Maybe we'll see it in 20H1 in spring next year. Maybe it'll come later, or maybe not at all. Who knows? Who knows? Until we get official word from Microsoft, we don't know. But anyway, there was a bit of a media hubbub about that a couple of weeks ago, and that's what's going on. That build that got released to insiders, of course, is now no longer available because it should have never been released. What else do I want to talk about to you today? I'm going to switch my monitor back on because it's gone into power saving mode in the middle of the recording. So looks like I'm back. Okay, so now I can actually see my notes, which is a very good thing. So, is it worth paying for third-party antivirus in Windows? Now, of course, you're aware that in Windows 10 you have the built-in application Windows Defender. And this is a series of different protection technologies, including anti-malware. And it was originally designed, of course, to provide basic protection for people who just didn't add or couldn't afford a third-party antivirus solution. But it hasn't always performed as well as the big players in the market, like Symantec and McAfee and products like this. So people quite often say to me, well, Windows Defender, it's not as good as the big market leaders there. And yeah, probably that was absolutely true. But a latest report that has appeared, I think, in the last week or so by AV Tests, which I believe is a German company that publishes a monthly kind of baseline of how all the antivirus products perform against one another, whether they're free or paid for, it doesn't matter. It's actually now showing Windows Defender competing and sometimes even beating the market leaders, which is quite interesting. Now, the one thing about these reports is that they do jump around every month. So one month, Windows Defender might be the leader, the next month McAfee might be the leader, and it changes all of the time. So you can't really keep changing your antivirus solution for the very best every month. It really depends. But I'm just having a look at the results here, and Microsoft Windows Defender is listed as a top solution, and there are various different tests. So there's protection, performance, and usability, and they're all used to make a total score. So Microsoft's solution has scored 6 across all of those points, and that's the maximum you can get is 6. So protection, performance, and usability. So obviously that's 18. I'm just having a look there. Are there any other products that reach 18? Yes, there's only one other product, and that's Symantec Norton Security. And everything else falls somewhere behind. So the answer to the question right at this moment in time is that Windows Defender is really doing well. Now, you probably know that Microsoft has invested a lot in security over the last few years, and it looks like whatever they're doing with the Windows Defender is really paying off. Now, of course, there's also Windows Defender ATP, Advanced Threat Protection. Now, this is really a product that is designed and targeted at enterprises. It's kind of built into the Windows 10 Enterprise SKU, and it adds various other features so that enterprises can catch threats before they start spreading around the network, and they can see what's going on much better. Of course, Windows Defender is more for small businesses and consumers, but nevertheless, those two products are integrated and work together. So the question is, do you need third-party antivirus in Windows 10? And the answer right now is probably you do not, unless you're looking for something very specific or some additional endpoint protection maybe that you don't get in a traditional antivirus solution like Windows Defender. But probably for many companies, many individuals, Windows Defender is likely to be good enough. So that is the message from that report. Again, you should keep an eye on the report, make sure that Microsoft maintains that level of quality in the product over the next coming months and years, but it's looking really good right now for Windows Defender. So that's my short Windows Business Weekly for this week. I hope to get back to a normal schedule, as I said, within the next couple of weeks and deliver some really useful news and tips on a regular basis. So please hit the subscribe button, and I really hope to be back with you next week. So see you then.